Good morning, everybody. My name is Geoff Mymin. I'm a committee member of the South African Film Festival, and I'm very honoured today to be conducting a discussion around the film Down, the Comrades Marathon, which I absolutely loved. We have a very geographically spread panel this morning. I'm sitting in Cape Town here on holiday. We have Bernard Fredman, who is in Sydney, speaking out of Claire Jacqueson's home, and Jacques Meyer, who's speaking from Perth. So 7 o'clock Cape Town time, 1 o'clock Sydney time, 1 o'clock Perth time, and 4 o'clock Sydney time. The miracles of technology.
Good afternoon.
So first I'll start with you, Bernard. I'll introduce you. Bernard is a Comrades Marathon. I think you ran 4, Bernard, from memory, and probably Bernard's most, aside from running 4 Comrades Marathons and having the best finish of 21, which is an incredible feat, he was also noteworthy for an unofficial demonstration against the exclusion of blacks and women athletes in 1974. We'll talk about this later in the call, so we won't dwell on that now, but welcome, Bernard.
Thank you.
The other member of our panel is Jacques Meyer. Jacques is known as a Comrades ambassador in Australia. I'm not sure exactly what that means, Jacques. I would imagine it's you promote the Comrades. But I think what you're very well known for is running something called the C Club, which can tell us about in a while, which is about training for the Comrades Marathon. So welcome to you, Jacques.
Thanks, Geoff. Yes, that is correct indeed. I am the ambassador for the Western Australia, western part of Australia. And yeah, the C team, very much a known entity over here.
Right. Well, we'll obviously talk about that later in the interview. To start off with, I'm just going to read a quote which I read from someone about the Comrades. 1921, the Comrades Marathon has been like a sponge, absorbed and reflected the political strife, racial controversies, and social class differences are so endemic to the country of South Africa. Unique way it has contributed to the healing and uniting of a cross-section of society. There may be political turmoil, but on race day, everything seems to be together, and this great leveler unites the competitors in one gigantic struggle in the true spirit of Ubuntu. For those of you probably non-South African, the word Ubuntu roughly means togetherness, as I see it. But it's one of those phrases that are very difficult to actually define. My own history of the Comrades is, first, I'll admit I'm very much a non-runner. The limits of my ambition are 8 city to surf races, which I did without any training whatsoever. And I was always extremely envious of anyone who'd run the Comrades Marathon because of all the folklore and just the incredible history of the race. Growing up in Durban, in the 60s, as I did in school, you couldn't help but be very aware of the Comrades Marathon. You know, at that time, it dominated the news for a full week before the marathon, and I just remember religiously every second year, because as we all know, it's one of its main distinguishing features is that it's an up run and a down run. It's either down from Pietermaritzburg or up from Durban to Pietermaritzburg. And whenever it finished in Durban, I would get a lift down there to watch the finish. In the 60s, it was at the place called the DLI Hall, which was in the middle of Greyville Racecourse in those days, a long time ago. And my one indelible memory, which actually was mentioned in the film, was in 1967 when I was standing there. A Scotsman by the name of Tommy Malone was leading the race. It was about to finish, but clearly he was at the limits of his endurance, and he tripped with about 10 meters to go. And a South African called Marnie Kuhn ran past him. And as a sporting fanatic, I've got to say that's one of the most indelible sporting moments I've ever seen. It was absolutely heartbreaking, but incredibly exciting too. And of course, there was so much folklore surrounding the race. One of my earliest memories, which was always stuck, is that some guy won the race, I'm not sure when, and he was so far ahead that he actually stopped for a steak and eggs on the way, and still won the race. Now, I've been trying to verify that notion, but I haven't managed to do so. But as the saying goes, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, and I really like that one. But I do know that in 1922, when Arthur Newton won, he was also that was only the second Comrades. There were only 45 competitors, and he was so far ahead that he stopped for a couple of brandies at a hotel, and he still won by 29 minutes. By the time the second bloke came in, he showered and shaved and was all ready to greet him. So those are my memories, but I don't want to dwell on that for much longer. And I have noted down a couple of questions just to frame our discussion with. Get up quickly. And the first one to each of you is what comes through for me in the film is the incredible gees or spirit in Afrikaans and mateship. Has this been an integral part of your Comrades' experiences? I'll start with you, Bernard.
Well, thank you, Geoff. Thanks for that introduction. Geoff, the Comrades only became an integral part of South Africa in 1975. Prior to that, because of the apartheid system that they barred non-white people and also no females, only in 75 did it start becoming what you would call an Ubuntu situation where black, white women and South Africans in general, the rainbow country, started coming together. Prior to that, it was white dominated. The spectators, interesting enough, along the way, didn't question that because there were heaps of African people used to just jog with us along the way, but the big turn was in 1975. And from there right to date, it's wonderful, the atmosphere that South Africans and internationals share on that grueling day.
Okay, thanks, Bernard. How about yourself, Jacques?
Yeah, I was lucky enough, you guys, people talk about that stuff and you can, about the early days of South Africa and the early days of Comrades, you guys can say you were there. But I was lucky enough not to be too much part of the old South Africa, and I was lucky enough to witness the change to the new regime and be part of the rainbow nation or the new South Africa. And so I would very much agree that there is no race that has got the gees and the mateship that Comrades has. There's a reason people call Comrades the best foot race on earth. And it is that. It is exactly that. And you got to sit back and think, but why is that? And it's because of that exact thing. You run the Comrades because it's got this atmosphere, because it's got that ambiance, I've never met anyone that's done the Comrades that said, "Oh no, it's oversold." Or every single person, every foreigner that I meet that run Comrades says it is so undersold. They thought we
Really?
were exaggerating, but it's so much more than what they expected.
People just keep on coming from overseas, don't they?
They love it. They love it. We, as the ambassador, I'm supposed to kind of market Comrades, but I don't do any marketing. People know Comrades, and people know what you're talking about, and they find you. So all I do, I'm here. So if you want to run Comrades, you make contact with me, and I put you in touch, and I give you whatever information you need to do that. But even in Vietnam, we were traveling in Vietnam, and it's a crazy place. There's so many people. And we run out one morning, there's a bunch of people just circling this one river, and they do their weekly long run. They cordon off all the roads, and there's about 500 people just running a 2K loop, and they do their weekly long run. You do as many loops as you want. And the one guy that I managed to find after about 20 laps, not 20, not that much, but that can speak English. I ask him, so what you training for? And he tells me this and that, and I say, I'm training for Comrades. And he knew about Comrades, and he knows about it. And I said to him, it's a wonderful race, and you must come and run it. If you want the experience of a lifetime, you come and run the Comrades Marathon. So everyone knows about
Comrades. I could just interject
there.
I always believed that the Comrades would become what the Tour de France has become for cycling, and sadly it hasn't, because when the Tour de France is on, the world watches the Tour de France. South Africa watches the Comrades.
Yeah.
We were all glued to Comrades Day on our TVs when it ran the whole day on TV. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen around the world, and I really believe that the Comrades Marathon Association should do much more to get it onto international broadcasting, to get it shown around the world.
Yeah. It's truly one of South Africa's probably most noteworthy international events, isn't it, outside of probably the rugby for us. But I agree with you, Bernard. Just talking technically from the movie, I was quite intrigued by the whole concept of the bus driver, which is the person who basically, as I understand it, leads the group and tries to get you to finish in the time that you want to. Did you have much experience for this in your runs, Bernard and Jacques? And
Geoff, what changed dramatically in the Comrade is as the numbers grew and it became a race of tens of thousands, the concept of the second disappeared. Now, in the old days, and I'm saying up to, say, the 1980s, a big part of a runner was to have a team of seconds who used to help him along the way. Now, when that concept died, because it was disallowed, because they couldn't cope with people on motorbikes and cars following the runners, and the road got closed off, that's when the bus became very important. Because up until that point, when there was a second, the second kind of geared your pace, told you what was going on, and guided you along the road. When the second disappeared, the concept of the second disappeared, that's when the bus driver became so important. And guys would say, I'm on a 7-hour bus, and they would then stick with that group because that group was aiming for 7 hours. And that bus driver was pretty important to get them through in that allotted time. So the Fordyce bus was a slow bus to start with. If you watch most of the races, Fordyce was right back in the field, but he had a bus hanging around him because they knew
Right.
that he would judge the race pretty correctly. So it was an important concept, the bus driver.
Thanks, Bernard. How about yourself, Jacques?
Yeah, while we were on holiday now, we had a discussion of the most stressful jobs in the world. And it was concluded that pilots have the most stressful job in the world. But I think a Comrades bus driver probably has the most stressful job in the world. I cannot even imagine doing that job. And I think it must be so stressful to get the guys through Comrades. A marathon bus driver, any other race, I don't think is so bad. But Comrades, Bernard, I take my hat off to you and to anyone that can do that job. I've watched the guys when I run. I watch the bus drivers, and they just got it. They usually just get it spot on, and I don't know how they do it.
Geoff, I think it's important to explain what a bus driver is, because the person out there listening to this interview will think it's a guy in a bus. And basically, the bus driver is the person who's in charge of a group of runners, and that person can judge the distance between Pietermaritzburg and Durban pretty accurately, and he'll say, or she'll say, I'll get you there in 7 hours, just hang in with me. And you have these groups. You have a 7-hour group. The slower runners, there'll be an 8, 9, 10-hour, 11-hour group. And those bus drivers, those are just basically someone who's pretty clued on how to judge the distance from Pietermaritzburg to Durban.
Right. Thanks, Bernard. Jacques, could you tell us a bit about the C Club, which you manage out of Perth?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, it's not any formal organization. It's not a club, and it's not anything formal. It's totally informal. And it's called the C Team. And
The team, yeah.
we immigrated to Australia 15 years ago. And my wife got home from work one day and said, there's this guy that runs at her work, and he runs with the C Team. And of course, I used to be quite a fast runner and all this and that. And I don't want to be in the C Team. Said, no, C Team is for Comrades team. It's the Comrades team. I said, but here we are in Perth. It's the most remote city on earth. And people are training for the Comrades, not only training, but they have a team called the C Team, the Comrades team. Couldn't believe it. And then as it happened, Bruce Fordyce was in town to promote parkrun. And of course, I went there to see Bruce Fordyce. He's in my hometown, and I'm going to go see him. And I met all these guys. These are the guys from the C Team, and welcomed me with open arms and come and run with us. And it's just Comrades. I think that parkrun introduction, Bruce must have been confused whether it was parkrun or Comrades, because all the runners there had Comrades shirts and things on, and it was more a Comrades do than a parkrun.
Right.
Oh. And so I started running with him, and Francis said to me, just enter Comrades. You don't have to run Comrades, just enter, because it fills up quite quickly. And I entered, but of course, as you enter Comrades, as you hit that enter button, something changes in you. And your focus just changes totally, everything. And it's like, okay, well, I've just entered Comrades. And so that the C Team is then basically a group of runners with an interest in Comrades. But anyone can run with us. Anyone, if it should really come with a disclaimer. that says if you run with these guys, you're probably going to end up running the Comrades. And so yes, we go into the hills in Perth. It's all off-road. Wonderful setting for where we are now. There's water taps everywhere. There's toilets everywhere. It's off-road, gravel, very civilized trails, and very hilly. Ideal for Comrades training. So we do. So the Comrades has a leader, which is now called the cat herder. So that's also me. And it was started years ago by Jane Elton and Richard Russell. I don't know, Bernard, if you even knew Richard Russell.
No.
He ran during the same period and also the same sort of times that you were running. And
all right, Jacques.
Jane, all right.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, so that came on to me. I became the cat herder and subsequently the ambassador for Western Australia. And we help the guys to run Comrades. So you want to run Comrades, you make contact with us. Usually no trouble finding us. And we help you to book your tickets and to get accommodation. We tell you how to train. All things Comrades. And all you need is a few long runs with us.
Fantastic. Well, I think it's a great effort. Bernard, as I mentioned previously, you in 1974, you made a protest by running unofficially against the exclusion of black and female participants. You didn't receive much support for your stand, but were rewarded with a plaque and silver medal in 2010. Could you tell us about your experience surrounding that whole 1974 race, Bernard?
Those are interesting times because it was crazy that the race was so inclusive just of white men. And I started talking to runners, and then I wrote to the Star newspaper appealing for Comrades to be Comrades and do the right thing. I got no response. In fact, I got quite a lot of abuse. In those days, it's hard to believe now that you talk about it, that these kind of things, the security police get onto you and they start intimidating you. Anyway, my decision was that I would go ahead, and I was the only one who ran it unofficially. Even in that race, I was running quite far in the front with the front runners. The helicopter came across and I looked up, and the next thing is somebody ran into my back, and that was the eventual winner of the race, Derek Price. And he started giving me a go, where's my number? Anyway, to cut a long story short, I finished the race with a lot of abuse along the way. And when I ran into the stadium, I had a banner which read, Collegians Open Comrades. With the result, there was a megaphone that came across saying, ignore the protest. And as I finished, I got interviewed by the newspapers, and it made quite a lot of noise. However, the stance, I believe, might have helped, because the very next year, 1975, the race was opened. It was partly opened, but it was a beginning. And I'm pleased to say that it's unbelievable what's happened to the race, that today you've got women running that I believe never ever dreamed that they would be running the Comrades. I'm talking in my early days of running. There were no women on the roads running at all. And now you've got heats, and their times have come down unbelievably. And then, of course, you've got the local South African runners that have been dominating the race, which is fantastic to see. And the spirit in that race is unbelievable today.
Yeah. Do you have a picture of that
Yeah,
park you
no,
got in 2010?
So then what happened was, so this
Right.
was in 1974. In 1975, when the government changed and we became a democracy, the Comrades Marathon Association went out of their way to look for black runners who ran unofficially. And they, if they could prove they had run the race, they were awarded medals. And they were called the Forgotten Comrades. I then wrote to Comrades and said, well, what about me? I also finished the race without a medal. And at that stage, they were not interested in my problem. They said to me, the exact words were that the black runners did not have a choice and I had a choice. My argument was I never had a moral choice. Cut a long story short, in 2010, I then got a phone call from Comrades to say that they will award me my silver medal. They flew me down to Durban and then to Pietermaritzburg. There was a medal presentation. I was given the silver medal. I immediately gave it back to the Comrades Marathon Association, calling it the medal that represents a free and fair comrade, and that it should be displayed in their museum. And they then took it up and they then mounted it on the wall. Well, what it reads, Bernard Fredman ran the 1974 Comrades Marathon within 7 hours 30. He ran it unofficially in protest against discriminatory policies that up to that time did not allow people of colour or women to participate in the race. This silver medal, and that's the silver medal that's onto the wall, this silver medal was presented to Bernard Fredman in April 2010 and now symbolises a free, fair and just Comrades Marathon. So
Wow.
I'm very proud of that. And it's on Comrades Marathon wall. The picture above, that's the picture of the first black runner that ever ran Comrades that was never given a medal at the time. He also ran it unofficially.
Well, all kudos to you, Bernard. I think that's a brilliant effort and something to many people would be very grateful to you for. So congratulations to you. I think we'll probably have to wrap it up here, chaps. I'll just say in closing, to me, the Comrades offers a utopian vision of the Rainbow Nation in a divided country such as South Africa. And the concept of Ubuntu, to me, just comes shining throughout this movie. Bernard, any closing comments from you? And thank you very, very much for your participation today.
No, my closing comment is I'd love to see the Comrades become the Tour de France of marathon running. That on Comrades Day, it's beamed out, streamed out to all different countries of the world in the same way South Africans are glued to it. International countries are glued to it with international runners all participating.
Thank you. I'll echo that sentiment. And thanks again, Bernard. How about yourself, Jacques?
Yeah, but no, Bernard hits the nail on the head when he says Tour de France, because often when I describe to other runners what Comrades is like, I tell them it's like Tour de France, but it's running. And if you hold your hands out like that at any time during the race, you'll touch people on both sides, spectators, people cheering you on, helping that last runner over the line. So all I can say, I love what the guys are doing. I'm very grateful for the Comrades. I'm very proud to be South African because of Comrades and to be associated and affiliated with that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, thanks again to both of you for participating. I think on behalf of the Film Festival, We're very appreciative of that, and I hope everybody who's watching enjoyed the movie. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.